Okay, I'm going to rig the character in this demo. We have modeled the character and we have textured the character. It's, as we know, it's a cartoonic character. We've been just working on that, and now I'm going to rig that because I just want to animate this character. So before animating, the main thing that we have to be doing is that we have to rig the character. So what the rigging is a control. We just create some controls through which we can animate our character. We look at the requirements we have for animation. Like what I'm going to do, I just want this apple to be hopping towards its destination, and its destination is a bowl. So he just wants to go to its destination. So to reach to its destination, he has to hop. He has to hop like poing, poing, and he has to reach to the destination. So to make him look like it's a live character and it's a cartoonic character having life and emotions, what I need to create some kind of controls. If you take a look at this character right now, if I go and just move it up and down, what I can do here, I can just move him around, I can rotate him around even, or even I can scale him, but I can't do anything else at the moment. So if I have to give him life and feelings, so I need more than that. I just don't have to just move him around, rotate him around, or even scale him. Rather, I need to bring feelings into his body. So it's to bring its feeling into its body, what I have to do, I have to create a character rig. So what kind of rigs I'm going to use here? I'm going to use some deformers to deform him in a way that would just show us the feelings and emotion as if the character is breathing and alive. So what I'm going to do, first of all, select all of your character and go to edit, delete by type, and history, so that if we have any extra nodes created, they should be deleted before we go and just start rigging the character. So what I'm going to do, as you know, we have just revolved this body of the apple into the polygon. If we right click, and we can see we don't have the isopalms, even the control vertices, or even the add point. That means whatever option now we have are from the polygon. So edge is a polygonal option. That means we have this object as a polygonal geometry. So but if we take a look at the leaf, it's still in the nubs geometry, and if we take a look at the stem, it's still in the nubs geometry. So what I'm going to do here to convert this geometry into the polygon, so select by pressing the up arrow key. As you know, we have created a group of these both, so I'm going to convert them into polygon. To do so, you have to go to modify, and here's the option convert, and the first option is nubs to polygon. Take the option box. What you have to do is to go edit and reset all of your settings. Now I'm going to choose the type as quads. I don't need the triangles right now, so I'm going to choose a quad and just click the tessellation. And this way what we have is that we have converted the polygonal objects into the nubs object into the polygonal object. We still have the nubs object. If you press up arrow key and we still have that group, I'm going to hide that, Control H. So I'm going to hide that. So what I'm going to do, select this one, these both, and just type 0 in the X, translate X channel to get them back right onto the spot. And when they have come here, what I'm going to do is, you see, we have 3 polygonal pieces. They are still not one geometrical shape. So I'm going to select all of these, all of the objects right here, and go mesh and click combine. So I'm going to combine them all together. So now I have them as a one mesh. So when we have done this, go and I'm going to save this into another version, and that is a version 3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to create I'm just going to rig this character right now. So to rig this character, what I have to do is to create the first thing. I need 2 kind of deformers here to give this character the life. And what kind of deformers those may be? If you go to animation manual, so I need 2 kind of deformers here. If you go to create deformers and non-linear deformer, and just tear this off. So what deformers I need? The first deformer I need is the bend deformer. to which I can bend this geometry, this apple. So select the apple and go click the bend deformer. So we have the bend deformer right here. If you press the 4 to turn it to the wireframe mode, so we see here that we have the bend deformer applied right in the center of this object. If we click the bend option right here, we get the options. If you select the curvature and with the middle mouse button just give it some values, and we can see we can bend our apple. So we have the bend deformer in the right direction right here. We don't have to rotate it along. But what we have to do, if you see, take a look at this, it's bending right from the top and the bottom both. But what we need is that we don't want it to be bending from the bottom like this. We want its bottom be fixed right on top of the grid so that the apple is lying right on top of the ground. So I don't want to bend him from the bottom. If you take a look here, I don't want him be bending from the bottom. So what I can do here, I can just move this bend deformer. Actually, what does the bend deformer do? It does the thing that it bends any kind of object right from the center. So if I just bring this center of this deformer right on top of this grid by just typing the value, 0 value, and translate Y, this way we have the center of this bend deformer right on the ground. This way we don't get the geometry be bended from the bottom. And if I increase the high bound, because now if you take a look here, the deformer is not up to the length of this geometry, so I want to give it some length. So come to the high bound, and by pressing the middle mouse button and moving it to left or right, you can increase. And when this line increases and comes out from the geometry right here, so we have to stop here. And this way we have applied, if you press the 6 and look at this, we have applied the bend deformer, and it's now deforming the geometry right from the top, and it's not going to bend it from the bottom. The bottom would still remain fixed onto the ground right here. So if I press 0 right here, we have it like that. And if we now want to bend him this way or this way, and you can see now we can just examine that this apple seems to be alive. You see, it's have some life like here, and we can take use of as if he is just having some life and moving along like this and doing some exercise. So we just type the value of 0 here. So we have gotten our first deformer in place. What other deformer do we need right here is the squash and stretch deformer. I have not explained this deformer before, but I'm going to explain it right now. Squash and stretch is a basic principle of animation. Whenever any object has to jump up, it has to squash, it has to stretch the body, and when it has to come back to the ground and touch the ground, it needs to be squashed. So to do this effect when the apple is hopping towards the bowl, so what we have to do is to create this squash deformer. If you apply the deformer, and most of the deformer just work from the center, right from the center. If we go to the squash option right here and we choose the factor, and by pressing the middle mouse button, if we move around, you can see it's squashing and stretching the geometry, but right from the center. The same thing with what we did with the bend deformer, that we brought its center point right on top of grid. I'm going to do the same thing for this deformer. I'm just going to move its center point on top of grid by just typing the 0 and translate Y channel. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is to increase the high bound so that the length of this deformer is larger than the height of this apple. So bring him up. This way you can see that it appears to be the center point is still moving up, but it's not like that. If you select the move tool, the pivot is right at the grid. So if you see that circle moving right up, it doesn't mean the center point is moving actually. So if we squash and stretch, the bottom of the apple is still fixed on the ground. So that's what we needed. So we have fixed the issue. So now we have two deformer right on a place. If we stretch the apple a little bit, and now if I go and select the the bend deform right here, and if you now see, we're going to just moving these deformer, and Apple seems to have some emotion and feeling, right? If you select the bend deformer only, or if you think where the bend deformer is, if we go to Windows, Outliner, and here we can find the deformers right in the list. So let's select the bend deformer. So when you select the bend deformer and we just play with the bend deformer and we take a look now, the apple seems to have some life. And if we squash it a little bit more, stretch it like that, and now you start bending him around, he's gonna do some action like that. So we have both of the deformers right working, and we have rigged our character up to our requirements. I just want to bring him right back to its default size and scale. So right here, I'm going to save that. And what I need is some kind of another control to move this deformer around, to move this, this object around. If I now translate the apple, what we have here, that the deformers won't move with this geometry. And if now we bring a change into deformers, you can see now we have some kind of deformer working here, but it's not as we need. It's not doing the proper thing right here. If we go and select the squash and stretch here, and we add some squash and stretch values, we can see that we don't have the required results what we need here. And that's why are we getting these results? Is that due to because the deformers are not moving with the geometry? So whenever the geometry is away from the deformer, or the deformers are away from the center of the geometry, you won't get the proper results you need. So what we need is to bring these deformers, to move this deformer with the geometry wherever we are going to move this geometry. How can we do this? It's so simple. If you select the deformers from Outliner, the bend deformer, control select the squash deformer, and then hold down the shift and select the geometry at the end. So now go to edit and choose parent, and this way whenever we just move the geometry around, we get the deformers around, and now we will get the proper result we need. So we have created the parent-child combination. I don't want to see the deformers right here. So if I want to turn the display of the deformers off, go to show, and here if you turn this off, you won't see the deformer, but they're still here in the shot. So what I'm going to do is to go to create manual, nubs primitive, and choose a circle. So now just scale the circle. We can't see the nubs curves right here. It's due to because we have them turned off right in this manual. So turn them back on and select these curves and Control H to hide them, or even this curve also, Control H to hide it. So now you select the circle and scale it up, and this way, if you just want to move this right here, so we can name it Control CTRL. So what I'm going to do is to select the apple and hold down shift and select this circle and go to edit and parent. You can just press the P as a shortcut. So this way we have this geometry parented to this circle. If now I move the circle, I can move the apple around here. So undo, and if you turn on the deformers, you can see whenever I move the circle around, everything is moving with the circle now. And wherever we place the apple, and if we go and select the apple, and if we bend, the apple is bending properly, or even if we go and try squashing the apple, you can see squashing right on a place. So we have everything working right on the way. So this is going to help. So I have undone every action and performed right here, and you have seen that we have created a rig. So this is called a control rig. So by selecting this, we can get all of our objects following that. and now we can easily go and start animating our object, our character. So in the next demo we are going to create the animation, and we're going to see what kind of action we're going to perform and what is the story behind our action that we are going to perform. And so it is an interesting story, and as it's your first animation project that you are going to see almost every stage. You have modeled, you have created the texture, now you have rigged the character, and after that you're going to see the animation, and after that we are going to work on lighting, and after at the last we are going to render this animation. So you are going to learn so many things right in one shot.